Russian attack on the cities of Ukraine continues as the war enters day 44. Ukraine President Zelensky has now said the situation in the town of Borodyanka, is significantly more dreadful than in nearby Bucha. Although he did not give details about whether Russia was responsible for this, Zelensky said the work to clear the rubble in Borodyanka is underway, after which the extent of the loss is going to be more than Bucha. According to officials in Bucha, over 300 people were killed by Russian forces in the city and executed 50 of them.
The work to clear the rubble in Borodyanka has begun. It's significantly more dreadful there. Even more victims from the Russian occupiers. And what will happen when the world learns the whole truth about what the Russian military did in Mariupol? There, on almost every street, is what the world saw in Bucha and other towns in the Kyiv region after the withdrawal of Russian troops. The same cruelty, the same terrible crimes.
Rajesh Pawar is getting us more details on that story. He joins us from Kyiv also. Mosmi is joining us from Mykolaiv in Ukraine. I'm going to go straight to Mosmi first for more details on that story. Mosmi, first of all, an up-to-date situation report from what do you really see around you. Give us an idea of the extent of damage in Mykolaiv and the number of people who've left Mykolaiv as of now.
Right, Sneha, we are in Mykolaiv, the first Indian news channel to reach Mykolaiv. Let me tell you, Mykolaiv is of great strategic importance, and where we are standing right now, not far away from the railway station, you can see in this in the visuals that there is a iron rod lying on the ground. This is a cluster bomb that is raining hell in Mykolaiv continuously. Cluster bombs are one after the other, days at end in various parts of the city, and this is a residential area where we are standing. We can't tell you which part of the city we are standing at, but it is a horrific scene, nightmare, because include women, children and people, civilians have been severely impacted by these cluster bombs that are actually internationally banned. And that's the testimony of cluster bombs that are being used. Smashed windows, injured people, and screams are what reverberate in this entire stretch of the town where we are. We are the first Indian news channel to reach here. Irina is here, who will actually testify, because the cluster bombs also hit her house, and how scared she is. Irina, it was a scary scene. Many people were killed.
Много людей во дворе. Погибло 10 человек, 9 взрослых и 1 ребенок за этот обстрел. Пострадало больше 40 человек раненых. Это вот за этот один обстрел только вот здесь, в нашем дворе.
Alex, it's very important that her voice reaches the other parts of the world. What did she say?
She says it just because of this bomb was killing 10 persons. One of them was child, and 40 people get damages.
And you were standing in your balcony. I can tell you that she told me that she was standing in her balcony. What did you see when this cluster bomb actually fell here, and other parts also in your society?
Да, я была на балконе, когда начались взрывы, я увидела, что что-то летит, и мы в шоке замерли. Даже не начали убегать от испуга. И потом уже, когда начали падать вот эти вот во дворе, мы начали бежать, забежали уже в квартиру, спрятались между стенами. Я слышала крики, люди кричали, от испуга кричали люди. Прилетало прямо в дом, было очень громко, очень страшно, и единственная была мысль, только бы не крылатая ракета, чтобы...
Yeah, you can understand how scared she is. What did she...
So in this time I was smoking in balcony, and I heard explosion in the air. So
That's her balcony. We'll just show you her balcony. She lives there, and she heard an explosion in the air.
yes, and some burning piece was falling down on the land. So first of all, we get a shock. We didn't know what we should do. Later, we was coming inside of apartment, middle to walls, and we heard a lot of screaming of people. So we were thinking it's damages. So it was horrible.
It was horrible, and let me tell you, Mykolaiv is located just 50 kilometers away from Kherson, where the Russians are. There is continuous fighting on the border of Mykolaiv. It's the last barrier for Ukraine to defend before the Russians actually enter through the road route to Odessa. That is a strategic Navy headquarters that they are looking at. And cluster bombs like these are actually spreading a lot of fear, spreading a lot of war hysteria, and there are tragedies one after the other. A child emergency just right here, Sneha. There a child was very seriously injured. Many lost their lives at the bus stop because these bombs specifically are banned because they indiscriminately damage people, and it cannot be actually assessed how much they damage. But this is the worst side of war that we are seeing, and it is unfolding continuously in this stretch where we are, right from Mykolaiv to Kherson.
Mosmi, thank you for getting us up to speed with that. Mosmi, talking about cluster bombs being used in residential areas, in schools, also in hospitals, in a child hospital where these bombs have been used. Mosmi, we'll of course come back to you for more on that story. Be safe. India Today, the only channel on ground, went deep inside Borodyanka to show the horrifying aftermath of the attacks in this city. India Today's Gaurav Sawant brings you the ordeal of the locals there who witnessed the brutality unfold in front of them. They recount the tales of horror in the city.
We're currently en route Borodyanka, one of the worst hit areas on the outskirts of Kyiv. This is beyond Irpin, Bucha and Hostomel, and the road is so heavily mined that we cannot even take the road route. This is where the Russians had one of their bases between Belarus and Kyiv, and if you look ahead, we are traveling through a road that has been carved out of the jungle. This is the first time that emergency workers and health workers are also going towards Borodyanka. We do not know what the situation is on ground right now, and we are going with the Ukrainian army relief supplies that are going, and teams that are trying to defuse the landmines, the anti-personnel mines and the anti-tank mines that are deployed on the road. So the road route is not possible, so we are taking a route through the forest. This is where the destruction has been as bad, if not worse, than what was witnessed in Bucha and Hostomel, and that is why this route through the forest, because roads will still take the next couple of days to be cleared. Borodyanka, this is about 60 kilometers from Ukraine's capital Kyiv, and one of the worst hit areas in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. You've heard about what happened at Hostomel or Bucha and Irpin. Borodyanka is again as badly, if not worse, hit in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. This is the first time that Ukraine army soldiers are also coming in here, assessing the damage that was done during the 43 days of conflict so far. The Russian forces, of course, have retreated beyond the Belarus border, but look at the damage that was done. Trucks, fuel trucks, armored personnel carriers, tanks and APCs, troop carriers, all lying burnt on the main road of Borodyanka. This is the main highway. This is the mother of Ukraine, the statue of the mother of Ukraine, and the memorial of those who were killed in the Soviet Revolution. In this place, the destruction has been intense and immense. This road was completely in control of the Russian forces. In fact, this building had been taken over and was the tactical headquarters of the Russian army. a number of operations had to be mounted to recover this building, this road and this area. Ukraine army officers now going lane to lane, street to street in an attempt to find out, one, the extent of damage, two, help that people require, three, clearing this entire area of landmines, anti-personnel mines and anti-tank mines. The effort is also to find out if there are still some pockets where Russian soldiers, supporters, sympathizers could be hiding. Now, right now there is a clearance operation happening. Soldiers stand guard outside the street when some others go inside. And once an all clear is given, they move to the next lane. Emergency workers and healthcare workers are also just coming in to this area to find out what all help needs to be provided to people here who haven't had access to food, water or medicines in the past 43 days. Tell us about the destruction that took place in this area.
До войны, да?
Нет, сейчас на войне, время войны.
Ну ж як, були бойові дії, йшли колони і ми їх це підбивали, розстрілювали.
बोले यहाँ पर आए थे, रशिया से लोग आए थे आर्मी वाले और उन्होंने यहाँ पे स्टार्ट किया था और हमारे लोगों ने हमने उनको तेराबरून जो हमारा यहाँ पे था उन्होंने उनको मार के यहाँ से भगाया है.
और यहाँ ये जो मूर्तियों का डिस्ट्रक्शन है,
Это памятник, который здесь.
Ну це у нас був городський парк.
ये पूरे शहर का पार्क है ये.
Оце навіть церква була Московського патріархата, русская.
चर्च है वो, रशिया की चर्च है वो.
Значить, вот это наш архангел, ну, Михаил, ну, як бог города, типа, ну.
मतलब ये मिखाइल जो है जैसे भगवान है उस शहर के भगवान.
Значить, отут, оце мать Родина, це пам'ятник в честь воїнам, которые, ну, нашим дедам, которые в 41-45 годах в армии.
जो 41 से 45 में जो वर्ल्ड वार जो हुआ था उसमें जिन लोगों ने यहाँ पे लड़ाई लड़ी थी उनसे रिलेटेड है ये.
We are currently in Borodyanka and with me is Hana. Hana is engaged in the relief and rescue operations. Hana, what can you tell us about your operations here?
Well, I'm just a volunteer. We came with the religious volunteers and we are doing, we are helping to clean the territory and to help to get all that back in order to help to find people. We are volunteering for the National Emergency Service.
Are there still people feared trapped in the debris?
I don't know exactly whether in this building, but in some buildings people definitely were trapped and they died, and emergency service found several corpses today.
They found several corpses in
these
buildings.
What about the numbers? Yeah, and the situation, probably better to ask officials. But of course people were trapped and probably will be found here.
How long will it take for your operations to continue to clear this entire area?
I think that people are changing, so emergency service involves volunteers from Kyiv to help. So probably people will change, but I think people will help until the territory will be ready for people to stay here. I don't know about the buildings, but we are cleaning the territory in order to make it safe.
Support pouring in from all quarters for Ukraine. And it is a big blow to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The United Nations General Assembly has suspended Russia from the United Nations Human Rights Council. This comes after Kyiv accused Moscow of human rights abuse and war crimes in Bucha. The US-led push garnered 93 votes in favor of suspension, while 24 countries voted and 58 countries abstained. India is among the 58 abstentions. New Delhi called for peace and continue with dialogue. The cry for a united opposition against Russia grows stronger by the day. Isolated by the world, Russians are fighting the demon of Putin's propaganda and detention threats in their own way. Some left their country as soon as the war began, while others continue to protest in spite of grave risks to their lives and to their families.
Измерение должен прямо сказать. Я никогда не в своей работе.
Russian President Vladimir Putin hates people protesting on the streets. The autocrat has used the harshest measures to quell agitations, particularly the ones against his war on Ukraine. Yet the protests have not stopped. They have only increased as more and more horrors are unveiled to the world. Hundreds were detained from across Russia. including the remote Siberia, in the most recent of protests. The protest against Putin's unprovoked attack on Ukraine began 2 days after the invasion. And since then, people have been hitting the streets as the world rushed to isolate Russia. Putin's government has banned the use of the word war, instead calling it special operations. But that did not stop a journalist from storming into a live news broadcast on a Russian TV channel, holding up a poster reading "No War" and "Russians Against War." She was taken into custody and was released after a hefty fine.
I went to the stationery store, bought markers and made this sign in English for the Western viewers, because I wanted to show the whole world that Russians are against the war, and what was written in Russian was intended for Russian viewers so that they would not believe Russian propaganda and would look for other news.
Ovviamente lo spettatore occidentale, perché volevo far vedere.
Miles away from home, Andrei Nokrin sent a clip of Marina's protest to his mother in Moscow.
I've done it to show her the other side opinion and to try to help her to see the other side and to just maybe have her own thoughts on the events that are happening, not just the propaganda she might be getting from the TV.
A day after Russia invaded Ukraine, Olga and Nikolai Kustov packed up and left St. Petersburg. They took their children out of school, bundled their aging cat into a crate and moved to a different country away from Russia.
What happened did not leave us the option to live our previous lives. Even if we stayed in our flat, doing our old jobs with our friends and relatives. The world lived one way before February 24, and now it lives differently.
In an effort to clamp down on protests, Kremlin has blocked social media like Instagram and Facebook.
90%
of my orders are on Instagram. I've got only 2 orders from VKontakte. It's useless.
Russian President Vladimir Putin knows that discontent is growing as sanctions are beginning to pinch ordinary people. So he's countering it by trying to spark nationalist feelings in the country. And his first target is the youth of Russia. Bureau Report, India Today.